One of the great pleasures in any Call of Duty game is taking out the higher tiered score streaks. All that effort in earning such a powerful reward destroyed in seconds. The return fire category is full of challenges that have you doing just that. One of the most difficult challenges is called the Zenith Strike. Shoot down an enemy Apex 5 times. The AP3X, or more commonly referred to as the Apex, is a remotely controlled anti-personnel experimental drone. This drone hovers and can be manually controlled. When piloting the Apex, you can float up or down, allowing you to make use of cover around the map to protect yourself from enemy players. So with its high mobility, that makes it a difficult target to take out. Considering that you have to seek and destroy 5 of these monstrosities, you need to be very prepared when the opportunity arises. Since you likely won't have many chances to experiment with what weapons or items work best against the Apex, I underwent the grueling task of doing it for you. So first, the launchers. The P-Law and the Howitzer are both relatively weak compared to the Spartan. In fact, it takes 6 P-Law bursts and over 10 Howitzer shots to take out an Apex. The Spartan, however, can take out an Apex in 1 life with 3 rockets. Of course, no competent Apex pilot is going to sit there idling with his frankenbeans flapping in the wind to allow you 3 clean shots. How about some of the other score streaks? The Scorchers, unfortunately, cannot take out a fresh Apex. The Bombardment is a different story, but only if you put all 3 bomb zones on the Apex. And this is virtually impossible to pull off, as again, the Apex is constantly on the move. You aren't going to find one sitting still. 1 single bomb or even 2 bombs won't take out a fresh Apex. Likewise, a Trinity rocket won't take one out either. Now with that said, a combination of any of these 3 streaks will be enough to take one down, such as a Trinity rocket followed by the Scorchers. When it comes to good old-fashioned weapon stopping power, the Apex can withstand a lot. For instance, with the HVR, it takes a whopping 75 bullets to take out a fresh Apex. That's nearly 2 full clips with extended mags. If you equip FMJ, this will reduce the amount of bullets down to 51, but that's still a clip and a half. For an assault rifle example, the Volk takes 67 bullets to take out an Apex, and with the RAM servo attachment, this will decrease to 46, which again is still over 2 clips. Now as for the LMGs, arguably the most powerful weapon is the Mauler Mammoth. This will take 39 bullets on its own, but with FMJ drops to a mere 25 bullets to take out an Apex. When it comes to rig payloads, most of them are nothing short of wank on the cob. Most of these payloads do next to no damage whatsoever against the Apex, which is somewhat absurd. Out of all the rig payloads, FTL's Eraser, Phantom's Ballista, Striker's Gravity Vortex, and Merc's Steel Dragon simply cannot take out the Apex in one use. Synaptic's Equalizer has 110 bullets split into 2 weapons, and it takes damn near all of them to rid the Apex. So that leaves 2 payloads, which are both ideal for disposing of an Apex. Those 2 are Warfighter's Claw and Striker's Centurion. The Claw comes equipped with 65 bullets and an insane rate of fire. It takes 36 bullets to take out an Apex. Considering the rate of fire, this makes the time to destroy the Apex pretty damn fast. For an even more impressive display of showmanship, Striker's Centurion can pull off a major upset. The Centurion is basically a portable EMP and trophy system merged into one. Every pulse emits an EMP effect. If the Apex gets caught in the radius, 3 pulses is all it takes to dispose of this evasive foe. Lastly, there's only one tactical or lethal item worthy of facing the Apex, and that's the Jammer Grenade. As I mentioned in my last video for destroying drone carriers, the Jammer Grenade can be extremely useful. It's more or less the EMP equivalent in this game. Against the Apex, it'll take 4 Jammer Grenades to completely destroy one. So more or less, that's all the ways to take out an Apex. Ideally, your best bet is to mix and match several of these strategies, which will complement each other into a full-blown war machine. So let's make a class setup that demonstrates this. For a weapon, you'll want any LMG. If you have the Mauler Mammoth, use that. If not, virtually any LMG will do since they almost all do the same damage. The Raw is slightly more powerful, so that would be your second best bet. Just make sure you have the FMJ attachment. For a secondary, use the Spartan launcher. In the tactical slot, 2 Jammer Grenades are ideal. Now when it comes to perks, you have a few options. In Tier 3, you have a choice between Hardwired and Engineer. Hardwired is the actual counter to the Apex, in that it removes the red diamond around your character, making you less noticeable. In actuality though, how much is this likely to save you? Chances are, the driver of the Apex will be spraying both guns non-stop. Conversely, the Engineer perk will highlight the Apex in a deep crimson red color. This is extremely useful in getting a jump on your foe. Oddly enough though, the Apex is always highlighted orange on the minimap, with or without the Engineer perk. I'm not sure if this is a glitch or not, but it can be extremely useful. For a rig, I'd recommend Striker with the Centurion payload, or Warfighter with the Claw and Resupply. Everything else is up to you. Now if the Drop Zone game mode is around when you attempt this challenge, I highly recommend playing it. You're almost guaranteed to see an Apex at least once a game, and sometimes even more than that. So the strategy requires some quick thinking and a lot of adjusting. Remember, the Apex streak lasts for a whopping 60 seconds, so don't be discouraged if you die in the fight. You'll want to hit the Apex with everything you have to ensure you can both destroy it and destroy it yourself. The last thing you want is for a teammate to claim glory after you've done a chunk of the damage. The ideal strategy would be to hit it twice with the jammer grenade, essentially taking its health down to 50%. If you die after the second jammer grenade hits, simply respawn and hit it again with the next 2 jammer grenades and it'll go up in flames. Sometimes you'll be lucky enough to encounter an Apex that's already been damaged by others, and a mere rocket from your launcher will take it out. Now if you have your payload at hand when an Apex comes in, you should use it immediately. Recall that I stated that the Claw is one of the payloads that can demolish the Apex. Watch here as the Engineer perk allows me to flank this Apex, who is thus caught unaware. By the time he whips his hovercraft around to face me, he's already incinerated in flames. I still maintain, however, that the Centurion is by far the best rig payload to have against the Apex. If you have it available, put it down as your main offense as well as your defense. It can be your offense if the Apex comes your way and gets caught in the EMP radius. It can be your defense in that it will absorb all rockets shot at you. So if the Apex owner decides to bombard you rather than use the machine guns, you can easily shoot it down with your FMJ'd LMG as the Centurion absorbs all the rockets. And lastly, don't forget to use your score streaks should you have them. Watch here as an Apex gets called in, yet I'm too far away to reach it promptly. Instead, I use the Scorchers. And again, as you can see, you can always see where the Apex is on the map with or without the Engineer perk. In this scenario, teammates had already thoroughly damaged it, and my Scorchers finished it off in one swoop. If you combine all these tactics, the Apex stands no chance. Watch here as this Apex gets called in. Not only do I have my Centurion, but I also have Scorchers. I first call in the Scorchers to weaken his health. Next, I hit him with both my jammer grenades, leaving him next to no health left. Now since I have the Engineer perk equipped, I can anticipate his movements towards me and take cover briefly. Upon seeing him retreat, I go on the offensive myself and put down the Centurion in case he comes back. Then I turn to meet him head on in the opposite direction, but I get cold cocked by the enemy. But remember, dying is okay and expected. As it turns out, it spawns me directly where I was heading in the first place, and I finish him off with a newly refreshed jammer grenade. And that, my friends, is Apex Hunting 101. Now if Drop Zone isn't available for you, the Apex streak will be few and far between. Hardly anyone runs them. If you saw my drone package odds video, you'll know that the Apex is found in drone packages rarely, but just enough to warrant this tactic. Run the drone package yourself in any game mode, although free-for-all is best since that'll all but ensure that the enemy picks it up and not a teammate. Once you know for certain that the enemy has ganked the package with the Apex, switch to the class setup we established earlier. If you aren't running the Centurion, switch to that as well. A lot of people don't realize this, but swapping certain rigs mid-match can instantly fill your payload meter. For example, as you can see here, I was about 75% towards Striker's Gravity Vortex. Upon switching to his Centurion and then dying, I'm instantly awarded the Centurion. And this is because it's a faster charging payload than the Gravity Vortex. Now all you have to do is find and engage the Apex with the ample arsenal your class possesses. Watch here as I set a trap with the Centurion, fire a rocket to lead it towards me, and then I get killed by it. As I respawn, you'll see it got caught in the EMP radius and was annihilated, rewarding me with the challenge complete notification. And that, as they say, is that. Knowing exactly how to engage an enemy Apex gives you a tactical advantage over it. The Apex is a fearsome streak, make no doubt about it. But with superior knowledge, you can hone in on its weaknesses and reign supreme. So start your war machine and be prepared for the rise of evil.